Hello and welcome to this episode of Victoriana, and this week we look at the newest locomotive ever covered by Rail Story. North Staffordshire Railway New L-Class No. 2, alias Princess. No. 2 is the only surviving steam locomotive from the North Staffordshire Railway. She was built in Stoke-on-Trent in 1923 to an Edwardian design which was already 20 years old. She was designed by John Henry Adams, the third son of William Adams, the locomotive superintendent of the London and South Western Railway and the inventor of the Adams bogie and a designer of some very beautiful Victorian locomotives. John Adams was appointed as locomotive superintendent of the North Staffordshire Railway in 1902 and in 1903 introduced his L-Class locomotive. 8 were built at the Vulcan Foundry, Newton-le-Willows, and they soon proved useful locomotives in all but 2 respects, coal and water capacity. So in 1908, Adams modified his design to create the aptly named New L-Class. This included a bigger coal bunker and more water space, enabling the locomotive to carry 3 tons 10 hundredweight of coal and 1,700 gallons of water in side tanks and in a well tank beneath the bunker. 28 of the design were built in batches between 1908 and 1923, 24 by the North Staffordshire Railway and 4 by the London, Midland and Scottish Railway, which absorbed the old North Staffs in 1923. No. 2 was one of the last batch of 4, all built by the LMS but turned out in full North Staffordshire Railway livery. Unlike early batches of the new L-Class design, she was turned out with a superheated boiler, a Belpaire firebox and Rospop safety valves. Working boiler pressure was 175 psi. The inside cylinders measure 18.5 inches bore by 26 inches stroke. The 6 coupled driving wheels are 5 feet in diameter, and the pair of trailing wheels are 4 feet diameter. They are carried in a radial axle box to help the locomotive take curves. Weight in working order is 59 tons 12 hundredweight. No. 2 remained at work on the LMS in Staffordshire until 1937, when she was sold with 5 others to the Manchester Colliery Company at Walkden in Manchester. In the following year, 1938, No. 2 and her colliery classmates were all named, with No. 2 being named Princess. In 1946, Princess was fitted with a new cab, tanks, bunker and a non-superheated boiler by the Hunslet Engine Company of Leeds. Then, in 1960, in order to take part in the centenary celebrations of the creation of the city of Stoke-on-Trent, Princess was sent to Crewe Works, where she was repainted into full North Staffordshire Railway Madder Lake livery, including gold leaf numbers on the buffer beams. Taking a starring role at the celebrations, Princess then returned to Walkden, still wearing her immaculate NSR livery and, looking rather incongruous, continued to work coal trains for the National Coal Board. 4 years later, in 1964, however, the boiler, cab, tank and bunker from Princess were put on the frames, wheels and cylinders of another class member, No. 72, alias Sir Robert, creating a new hybrid locomotive. Because the boiler, cab and tanks, etc. had not been repainted, this new locomotive adopted the name Princess and No. 2. The original wheels, frames and cylinders from Princess received a new boiler at Walkden, plus the bunker and tanks and cab from No. 69, alias King George VI. So whether the No. 2 we see today is actually No. 2 Princess is open to debate. Classically, railway enthusiasts consider a locomotive's identity to come from its frames, but frames like boilers, cabs and cylinders and so forth are all items which are essentially disposable during a locomotive's life. Condemned as worn out in 1968, Princess became part of the collection of the Museum of Staffordshire Life at Shugborough Hall, before passing to the then National Coal Mining Museum at Chatterley-Whitfield, before later becoming part of the UK's national collection. In 2016, No. 2 alias Princess was gifted to the Foxfield Railway in Staffordshire and is one of their treasured exhibits. So that's been a quick look at No. 2 alias Princess, the only surviving North Staffordshire Railway locomotive. And I hope you have enjoyed this quick look at the NSR New L-Class. And if you have, please like, share and subscribe. And if you want to see her in person, why not visit the Foxfield Railway in Staffordshire, which will be running steam trains over the preserved Corrie branch line every Sunday until the end of October. And see you all next time on Rail Story.